So thanks, everyone. I love the networking, though. I appreciate it. You just want to grab your seats. We're just going to sort of give you a little bit of some next steps of where we're headed. Oh, our pictures are there. I forgot about that. Oh, lovely. So we're just going to discuss the Niagara Climate Change Action Network, of which many of you have been participating in over the last year, with Natalie Green from the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority. So Natalie is the manager of climate change and special programs at the NPCA. In addition to other programs, she is responsible for leading the development, management, and evaluation of the NPCA's Corporate Climate Change Action Program. Natalie has a Master's of Science degree in biology, is formally trained as a teacher, and is a certified project management professional. She has more than 15 years of experience leading environmental projects with a variety of partners, stakeholders, and local community groups to accomplish mutually beneficial environment goals. So welcome, Natalie.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction, Suzanne, and thank you so much for sticking around till the very end. I really appreciate it. I'm pleased to see so many dedicated and interested people who are here today, and that's what really the whole network and what the summit is about. I actually even recognize some faces from last year's summit as well, which is really great. As you may recall, the theme from the summit last year was collaborating for a sustainable future. And if you had forgotten, it's actually on the podium right here as a reminder. And interestingly, it was very much weaved into all of the presentations this morning as well. As a central thread across all of the speakers this morning was collaboration. Collaboration is key to getting work done. The inaugural summit last year was aimed at bringing people together and organizations to help foster collaboration. And at the end of the summit, we all signed a pledge to demonstrate our commitment to form partnerships, share data, and ultimately accelerate action on climate change. And if you want to see that pledge, it's actually just at the front entrance. We carried it over from the offices. With that in mind, a key outcome of the summit was creating the Niagara Climate Change Action Network. This is a collaborative, community-based group who is focused on climate action for creating sustainable and equitable communities for everyone. Overall, the network will ensure a progressive approach to addressing the effects of climate change in Niagara by working together and leveraging our shared resources and knowledge. In December of last year, so June was the climate summit, and by December of 2022, over 50 individuals representing educational institutions, environmental groups, indigenous organizations, municipalities, and businesses from sectors including energy, agriculture, development, and engineering attended a kickoff meeting to establish and create the network. So the stats on the slide here are the numbers of representatives in each of those sector member organizations. For a full list of the member organizations and the network, visit our website. So the address is just listed below. It's ncan.ca. So using the information gathered during the 2022 summit, many of you recall that we had breakout sessions, we had discussions, and as well as a survey to network members and some facilitated discussions at that initial climate kickoff meeting, Climate Network kickoff meeting. The group landed on 3 focus areas to work on. The first one is pathway to net zero, the second being climate resilient infrastructure, and the third priority or focus area is biodiversity. So pathway to net zero is about preparing Niagara for a transition to net zero emissions, and we can do that, as we heard today, through clean energy technology, collaborating with different partners, and what we're going to start kicking off in this year and next year is community energy planning. Climate resilient infrastructure is about advancing resiliency to climate change impacts through improving infrastructure such as roads, transportation, and buildings. So it's really that adaptation piece of climate change. And of course, biodiversity, working at a conservation authority, this is top of mind for me and my colleagues. This is about increasing the diversity of life across the region and across our watershed, of course, through different actions like conservation area management, land securement, greening initiatives happening across the watershed, not just from our programs, ecosystem restoration, and environmental stewardship. So a glimpse of what we've been doing since the last summit. I know it's very small, but I will walk you through it. So the summit is the far left little dot at the beginning there, June 2022. We hosted our first summit. The 4 agencies that have come together to bring you the summit are collaborating, and we have formed a coordinating committee to help coordinate the network and move action forward. So that happened in July, just after the summit. We established a municipal community practice committee, so their first meeting was in October. And of course, as I mentioned, December was the kickoff meeting for the creation of the Niagara Climate Change Action Network. Shortly thereafter, we took all of that information from different partners and groups in the network and created, drafted, and approved a terms of reference document that will take us through to the next 2 years. So we recognize that we're going to be agile and see how things work and then change the network if we need to in the future. But for now, we do have a terms of reference that guides our priorities, our mission, and the roles and responsibilities of committee members. If you're interested in that document, it's on our website as well. In March, of course, a website. So that was a key priority for the network. We wanted to be able to share information and to create sort of a resource hub for network members and for the public to access as well. So in March, we officially launched a website. It is, in progress and in development, but we've done everything that we wanted to for now, and we can grow it and change it if we want to. So if you're curious about that website, I encourage you to go check it out. We had our second Niagara Climate Change Action Network meeting in June, and that's when we started talking about how are we going to collaborate and what projects are we all working on and where are there opportunities for us to work together to advance those projects in a more effective and more efficient way. The list of projects and initiatives is also on our website, so if you're interested in that, and if there's a project that you're looking to partner with someone, reach out to them. Some of those projects actually have their own web page that you can take a look at and contact those groups as well. And then, of course, here we are today with the 2023 Climate Change Summit and highlighting and showcasing what we want to do next. So of course, this is all excellent news. We have made good progress, but with good progress often comes some challenges and some roadblocks, and we are no different. The main challenge right now is that the network is currently unfunded. And the 4 coordinating agencies are providing in-kind financial support, and of course the network members are doing the same, participating and providing their staff time. But securing funding is a key priority that's been recognized by the network to be able to move action and accelerate the projects that we want to move forward on. What was really inspiring this morning was Wayne's talk when he talked about the Oakville project, where they had a similar challenge as well and have been able to overcome it and find ways to secure funding, and hopefully we can get to that place as well. So the network continues to explore and pursue potential funding strategies and sources. So our next steps for the coming year is really about advancing climate action within those 3 priority areas that I showed earlier through member organization projects. So I've highlighted a few here. They range from a carbon sequestration of natural areas and natural assets analysis that the MPCA is leading. We've got some community energy planning, retrofitting projects, infrastructure projects like the 40-year break wall, and then some restoration and knowledge mobilization projects that were highlighted here. If you're curious about the full list of projects and initiatives and what's going on within the network, again, our website is a great resource, and the link is just below there, but simply it's ncan.ca, and you can navigate the tabs at the top. And of course, one of our bigger next steps, as we mentioned all day today, is the community energy planning that we'll be working on. And I'm going to turn it over to Suzanne now so she can talk about that.
Sure, we're in the home stretch. So the community energy plan, this really came out as a top priority in meeting a pathway to net zero for the community. Is also something that we heard across members in the community, is that we have lots of different initiatives happening in community energy planning or projects. But in order to move and to meet a net zero target by 2050, we really have to make big moves. And big moves take complex, diverse, unique partnerships, unlike probably what we've seen in Niagara region before. In order to do that, we need a network, and we need to get those who have stake in the game together, working on those initiatives. So a community energy plan is something that does bring those diverse parties together to ensure that we're looking at opportunities. A lot of the speakers that were here, I really think of them more like heat hunters, sort of like treasure hunters. They're heat hunters. And heat and energy have no boundary. So this is why it's so important for us to work as a community together to look for those opportunities so that we don't have missed opportunities as we transition. And I also like to point out that it's a key word when we say transition. These things aren't going to happen tomorrow, but the transition or the interim solutions to get us to the net zero is really important, and there's many of them. There are many benefits to having a community energy plan, and it's something we want to launch and start working on and progressing in the next year. We do have this outlined in the Niagara Region 2023 to 2026 Council Strategic Priorities as an initiative that we would like to see move forward as a community energy plan. There are significant benefits to community energy planning. There's climate resilience, so are we adapting to extreme weather events? Do we have energy reliability? Are we also ensuring that we have energy resilience? Are we a product of an energy global crisis, or are we bringing in those energy dollars into our community, and are we generating that energy locally? We also want to ensure that we're bringing the economy along. There is a great opportunity for the clean energy economy, for green jobs, for transitioning those who are in jobs with fossil fuels, appropriately training them, training the workforce. We did hear that mention of ensuring that we have the right skill set. Is Brock University and Niagara College there to meet the challenge to ensure that we have that skilled workforce? And a key component, as I mentioned before, is keeping energy dollars local. If you look at our community, a significant portion, somewhere between 70 and 80% of those energy dollars leave our community. Can we bring that money back to Niagara? Can we invest it in our own community? And this is a real opportunity. Not only will we see a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions when we perhaps meet a net zero goal, but can we boost our economy and look at those emerging sectors and those opportunities? So what we will be doing over the next year, there is some funding. There's some provincial funding for community energy planning that we'll be tackling. We'll be looking for partnerships from utilities, from different sectors. We will be looking to have all of that engagement and those individuals get together to work on a task force and a working group of how we can move community energy planning forward in Niagara. It will be a lot. It'll be a lot of people, a lot of different sectors, and a lot of views and opinions and input required. But we need to tackle this challenge. This is something that we've seen through examples such as Oakville and Waterloo, that it is effective. It does take time, but we do have some steps forward, and we also have the ability to learn from others who have gone before us. So we'll be really working on that partnership and that community engagement. And that's really the other piece of this. Not only do we need the partners, the funding, and the individuals working together to make big moves, we need the community engaged. And as you saw in that Skanky diagram from Waterloo, a significant portion of emissions come from the residential sector. And this is just engaging the everyday homeowner. And that's a big piece, and where I look to NGOs and different organizations to take on that challenge of doing education and awareness for the community. So we have a really exciting, this is an opportunity to really do something big, to make some big change in Niagara, and to really bring in all of the work that we've seen in Brock and other organizations together, and really ensure that we're moving in the same direction. So I want to thank all of you for coming today, and I hope that today's session inspired you, ignited you, brought some knowledge, some innovation, some ideas. We wanted to ensure that maybe each one of you in the room could see yourself playing a part or having a role in the community energy plan, or even just in climate action. So we're really excited to continue this conversation to kick this off, and you'll be hearing more. So thank you very much, everyone. Oh yes, and the last thing, I forgot, the most exciting part is if you have a sticker on the back of your chair, not underneath, but on the back, you get to take one of these beautiful mums home that came from Niagara College, grown in their greenhouse, bigger this year than other years because they had a great growing year. If someone at your table doesn't find the sticker, look at empty chairs, and whoever finds it first gets the mum.